18 minutes. Nah, she always do that. I ain't gonna even lie. Nah, she always do that. She used to send them to me when she was with her mama. She'll send them to me sometimes. Daddy, I was watching you. You heard me? So she knew me on TV. I got this video on my phone. She doing this. You should join Trappers Anonymous. You should join Trappers Anonymous because it's going to help you be a better investor. It's going to help you, right? If you do wrong, if you're in Trappers Anonymous, you get it right. You want to get it right, right? That's crazy, yeah. So, but again, here's what happens, right? Let's talk about it. And we talk about it, right? That child teen, you already know she is, right? Right? But, and so one of the things, so how I wound up getting her, well, me and her mama got this dope ass relationship, man. It's real cool, right? And so she came out here for the summer, and I was like, man, let me just help you. Let me add some structure to her. You know what I'm saying? Let her be with me. You know, I'm gonna make the time. And immediately, like, her being here, things started changing. You know, we had some issues, but it wasn't nothing bad. That's what, again, you gotta lay the authority. Like, hey, this not what we doing. That's what we doing? No, daddy. All right, cool. Right? And I think we gotta, I'm gonna say this to everybody who is co-parenting. Right? Y'all gotta come together and raise them children the right way, man. Right? Y'all gotta come together and raise them children the right way. Right? You gotta come together and do that. Like fathers, like black men, like we gotta get, so here's the thing, check this out. Black men, men, we gotta get around some good men. We gotta get around some good men. Right? Like we gotta get around some good men. Because we gotta be emotionally available for our kids. Right? Like we gotta be emotionally available for our kids, and we gotta be emotionally available for the parent, the woman. Right? Me and my daughter mama had an issue the other day. It wasn't even a bad issue. Something I did didn't sit well with her. So she called me. You know, without getting into it, she called me. She was like, hey, here's the issue. Here's what you did. Here's how it made me feel. You know, bum, 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 bum. And so I said, listen, the one thing I can't do is say how something made you feel. But let me tell you my intention. Right? And if I can tell you my intention on it, maybe that'll help the situation. Right? So I say, this was my intention. Boom, 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 boom. You know, I always leave with the utmost respect. I always, converse with you with everything. Here was my intention. Because what I can't do is say how something I did made you feel. Right? I think one of the things we got to stop doing is telling somebody, man, you tripping. Man, you tripping, man. Man, you out the box. Man, you crazy. Right? We gotta acknowledge, right? We gotta acknowledge right? So we have to acknowledge that person's feelings. Right? We gotta acknowledge that person's feelings. So I didn't say, man, you tripping for feeling like that, man. Why would you even think like that, man? You tripping. You know I wouldn't do you. No. I said, hey, if that's how I made you feel, I apologize. But here's the thing. Let me tell you my intent. And then while she was telling me it, I didn't interject anything. I let her talk. Right? I let her talk. I let her get it out. Because one of the things we want to do is, that ain't it. No. I let her talk. Right? I let her talk. I let her tell me everything what it is. Because what happens is when we don't let people get out, people don't feel heard. Right? And when people don't feel heard, we start building up a resentment. And now it can blow up later. Right? Somebody say, that's me, you tripping. Yep, facts. So we got to stop doing that. Right? So we let somebody's feelings be valid. Because you can't say what you did, that if that wasn't your intention, you speak on that. Right? So I said, all right, boom. When she told me how she felt, I said, hey, listen, first of all, if I made you feel that way, let me say I apologize first and foremost, because that wasn't my intent. Now let me tell you my intentions. My intentions for doing that was boom, 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 boom. That wasn't how it looked. I knew it could look like that, and maybe I can find a way, but I promise you, you know me, let's deal with our track record, right? Let's deal with our track record to see if I ever did you this before. All right, cool, so I'm not going to start now. My intent was to do this, 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 and this, right? And again, let me say I apologize. So now I doubled down on, right? I doubled down on apologizing for making her feel like that, because her feelings are important, right? So I said again, I apologize for that, right? Now, this is why I was doing 1, 2, and 3. This is why this happened. This is why it looked like that. You know, her response to me was, man, I'm so glad we having this conversation. She said, because I'm not going to lie, it made me feel a kind of way. And here's what she did. Here's what she did that was even dope, because this is what people do. She said, I even asked someone else, and they told me I wasn't tripping. I said, cool. That's okay. Right? That's okay that you ask somebody, because you try to make sure, damn, I ain't tripping. What happens is this. When two people of the same environment or of close friendship or relationship, you often have a tendency to see the things the same way if you can't get to the core of it. So I said, that's okay, that's cool. But listen, now let me break it down to you. And she said it to me. She was like, man, listen. She said, man, she said, I love you so much, man. Because I totally felt some kind of way about that. And I'm glad you told me that, because you're right. You never have led with that. You never have disrespected me. You never have did this. You never had did that. I apologize. Matter of fact, thank you for this. We moved on. We kept going. I promise you. Like, that's my relationship up. Right? So my relationship with my daughter's mom is always like, and we have to understand that, like, there's going to be conflict. Right? There's going to be conflict, right? And so what we got to do is be okay with saying, yo, that wasn't my intent. I apologize for that. Boom, that's the first thing. I apologize for making you feel like that. Let's lead with that. Right? I apologize for making you feel like that. Okay, now let me tell you my intent. And now if you see my intent, can we now come to a common ground? Right? Once you see my intent, and then you look at my track record in dealing with you, can we move forward? And then, and if you still say, nope, I still feel like that, okay, well, now we got to make some adjustments. Right? If you still feel like that based on, once I lay the facts out and I tell you my intent, okay, now, okay, well, because the nature of me is not to make you feel like this, how can we adjust it? Is this something that you feel what I'm saying? You feel what I'm saying? So I think as parents, if you co-parenting, man, or even if you're in a relationship, man, like, of you dealing with somebody, like, learn to hear that person out, man. Learn to see it from that person's perspective. Right? It's okay to stand on what you stand on. It's okay to stand on what you stand on. Right? It's okay to stand on what you stand on. Me and her ain't always agree. But I'm going to hear her perspective. And I'm going to tell her my intent. In the same way, if she do something I don't like, yo, check this out. I remember one time, like we had a disagreement behind my daughter not seeing me for Father's Day, right? And she had to tell me, she was like, yo, it wasn't my intent, but when you told me you didn't have nothing planned, I didn't think that it was, you know what I'm saying? And so we said, okay, look, moving forward, every Father's Day, I got, even if I ain't doing nothing, is it? What I'm saying that to say is, yo, in order for us to build wealth as a collective, in order for us to build wealth, that black family structure has to be a thing, right? But even in that black family structure being a thing, what also has to happen is there must be communication. Communication is like top of the list. If we can't communicate with one another, how can we build wealth? How can we collaborate? Right? If we can't communicate with one another, how can we collaborate? Right? So when I'm building wealth, I'm not just building wealth for me, I'm building wealth for my daughter. not only am I building love for my daughter, if something was to happen to me, I have to be able to communicate enough with my daughter mama so she can take off where I left off at. So she can understand my instructions. So she can understand that, yo, I got you too. So she can know, yo, I'm about to give you this lump sum of money. Like, you need to be able to take care of business because you don't need to be broke. Right? So we have to make the communication a thing. Right? So the communication amongst ourselves, the communication amongst our spouse, the communication amongst our kids, parent who may be outside of the situation, like, we have to make communication a thing. And then on top of communication, there has to be emotional intelligence. You cannot lead with, I'm just like this. I'm just like this. That's just the way I am. You can't lead with that. That's destructive. I'm just like this. I'm just that way. That's just how I am. Right? We can't lead with that. We gotta tear that down. Right? And so for me, when it comes to like building wealth, it's also building new ways to think. It's building new ways to talk. It's building new dialogues. It's constructing new relationships. It's healing one another. Right? It's doing that type of work. Right? That helps us, not the reason. So again, I always like use myself as an example. Right? So in order for me and my daughter's mama to get here, 6 years ago, we had to have a serious relationship. We had to have a serious conversation, right? And the conversation was because I had moved to Atlanta in 2015. I had just beat my charges in 2014. And when I beat my charges, literally the day I moved, the day I had my U-Haul packed to move, we found out she was pregnant, right? And so I made a decision to still come to Atlanta, right? It was a tough decision, right? But I felt it, and I told her this. I said, man, listen, I said, if you really want me to be a father the way I need to be a father, I need you to respect this move, right? And that was tough for her. It was super tough for her. Like, we went through a lot of stuff for a minute, right? But in order for us to build to where we at now, again, I was there for my daughter when she was born. I lived with my daughter. I took my daughter out of the womb. We did a lot of stuff. But again, men, we got to start learning how to deal with pregnant women, right? If you're dealing with a woman, you got to learn how to deal with a pregnant woman, because now her emotions everywhere. She don't feel pretty. She feel fat. She feel ugly. She feels swollen. Like, she feels her confidence ain't at an all-time high, right? So you got to learn how to talk to her. You got to learn, yep, she going to have these old crazy cravings that you don't even understand. You're like, why you got these cravings right here? Right? No, yeah, I just told you pretty. I just told you pretty. You ain't not get unpretty 2 hours later. What are we talking about here? Right? So as men, we got to learn how to deal with pregnant women. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not something that we accustomed to. Why is it not something we accustomed to? Because we ain't never dealt with that. We ain't never had a father, a grandfather to tell us, hey, she pregnant. Hey, to calm down. Don't deal with that. So now you thinking she tripping, but she got a body. She giving birth inside of her. Her body don't look like it was. She probably been working out before the kid. Now she pregnant. Now none of the stuff she was using ain't working anymore. Her ass ain't the same. Her stomach ain't the same. Her nose swell up. Her breast different. She thinking about how she gonna look after she had a baby. She's trying to have a good baby. She's trying to be. You probably ain't having sex with her like you was before. No, you gotta. Like, all of this stuff is changing inside her mind. She not feeling wanted no more. So you gotta give her a loving pregnancy, right? So somebody had to learn, right? But then after she had my little one, I was coming back and forth, and we went through something for a minute. And I remember having a conversation with my daughter mama, right? And this was the conversation that changed our relationship. See, we talk about it right now. This was the conversation that changed our relationship. I remember calling her one day, and I said, listen. I said, my goal is to be a great father. So she was on fire. You can't be no goddamn father. You in Atlanta. I'm in New Orleans. You can't tell me. She was on it. She was on it. You hear me? And I said, listen, I can only be as great as a father as you allow me to be. Right? I said, but here's the thing. I want to acknowledge to you right here and right now that I did some things wrong. Right? I didn't do everything right during your pregnancy. I didn't do everything right as soon as baby girl was born. Right? So let me say that I apologize for not handling the situations correctly. I only dealt with things with the knowledge that I had at the time. Right? If I could go back, I would handle things different. But let's do this. Moving forward, if there's anything you got to tell me don't tell your people, come tell me, because none of them was in the bed with us. I promise you I'm going to give you a listening ear. And I promise emotionally I'm going to be available for you. I said, but I want you to understand that I cannot be the best father I can be unless you allow me to be that. That's all I can do. I can only do what you allow me to do. And that conversation changed our relationship. It changed the dynamics of our relationship because I let off acknowledging that I made mistakes. I let off, so I didn't get defensive. So for 35 to 40 minutes, she told me everything that I did wrong. Right? For 35, 45 minutes, she told me everything that I did wrong. And instead of me injecting, instead of me trying to justify, I said, listen, you're right. I 100% did those things. Even if I don't agree with all of them, I know I did some of them. So instead of me trying to pick the ones I didn't do, that's going to cause another conversation. Look, I did that. Let's move forward now. You got that off your chest. You felt it. Because the problem, what a lot of things build up with us as people is because we don't feel heard. We feel like we got some stuff on our chest that we need to tell a certain person, and we can't tell that person. So look, I'm the person you need to tell it to. Tell it to me. Don't tell none of them people. Don't post it on Instagram because none of them people was in the bed with us. None of them. That's me and you had that conversation. Yo, I swear, it changed our relationship. And I stood on it. Listen, that was one of the hardest things of my life. I'm talking about 35 minutes. Now, she never got disrespectful from me, but for 35 minutes, at least 35 to 40 minutes, she just was giving it to me. You ain't do this. Why you ain't do this? I thought you should have did this. You should have did that. And I don't do that. And I did that. And I was just like, bad. I was like, damn, I did all that shit? God damn. All right. But a friend of mine, a female I was dating at that time, she told me something. She said, I want you to look at it, not from your perspective. Look at it from a woman's perspective who's having a baby. You in Atlanta, you building, you doing your thing. You're not there like she wants you to be there. I was like, damn, you're right. And then one of my partners told me something. A close friend of mine named Ghost. He said, bro, the moment this was so real to me. Excuse my language for what I'm about to say. He said, the moment you stop expecting a woman to be a woman, you expect her to be a real nigga, you messed up. I said, what? He said, the minute you stop expecting a woman to be a woman and you start expecting her to be a real nigga, you messed up. I said, ooh, damn. One of my OGs, I only call a few people Big Brother, he one of them. He said, I'm going to tell everybody this, all my guys, the minute you stop expecting a woman to be a woman, and there's no shade or nothing to a woman, the minute you stop expecting a woman to be a woman and you start expecting her to be a real nigga, you messed up. She not a real nigga. She not a gangster. She's a woman. She is a woman. So she's going to handle things like a woman. And it's not nothing bad, but you can't expect her to be your homeboy. She not going to handle this shit like your homeboy handled it. She not a street nigga, bro. You been through all this street shit. Why are you expecting her to handle shit like a street nigga? What is you doing? That was one of the most profound things I ever heard in my life. Because as men, we be like, man, I wouldn't do it. No, how you going? That's a woman. Why would you even think that a woman? No, she is not your partner. She is not your partner. She is not a real dude. She is not a ride or die. She is not that. She is a woman. She got all type of emotions. She got all type of feelings. She is a woman, so she's going to handle woman issues like a woman. Now, there's different calibers how women handle things, but it's never going to be like a nigga or a dude or a man. So get that out your head. Yo, he told me that. I was like, oh, that's it. I said, that's it. That was the one. And it was back to back because when he told me that and the female told me that, those are two things that helped me out. You feel what I'm saying? And so I was like, I bet. And so when I had the conversation with her, and I just told her, I said, man, look, I messed up. Like, I ain't handled every situation correct. You know what I'm saying? I could have did some things better, but I dealt with the situation based on the knowledge and the information I had. Right? So, doing it. This is work. This is getting back to the money, King. Because if we can't have healthy relationships as black men and black women, we can't make no money. There can be no wealth. There can be no family. So this is the important. This is the money. This is the money, King. Believe it or not, this is the money. Because if you can't be a powerful figure in your family's life, if you can't be a delegator, if you can't be a solutionist, if you can't be emotionally intelligent, if you can't be emotionally available, if you don't know how to talk to your woman, if you don't know how to talk to your kids, then how are you going to build wealth? This is the money. This is the money. This 100% is the money. You feel me? This is the money. You feel me? This is the money. You know what I'm saying? This 100% is the money. You know what I'm saying? So, and from that, I was able to, we were able to build a great co-parent relationship. We were able to build. We were able to, I watched her, I let her see me invest for my daughter. Like, yo, this is what I'm doing for her. Open this account up for her. This was up. This is what we doing. This how much I'm investing for her. And she texted me now and be like, bro, like, you are so amazing. But here's what happens. So again, if we're having co-parenting relationships, right? If we having that 3D, what's up, bro? I love you, man.